what's funny is the stunt director, who is amazing, he came up to us the morning of that shoot and of the stunt scenes. And there's some heavy stunt scenes towards the end of the film. And he was like, "Hey, I made something that will help you guys kind of walk through and see what your blocking is for these stunt moments because it's a long stunt scene." And he is so awesome. He made this video with his daughter's dolls and like stop motion type of video where each doll was like, okay, hitting this doll, now hitting this doll. And like from above showed a stop motion video of these dolls doing the whole like song and dance, the whole routine of our stunt show.
Welcome to Survive the Shows.
Welcome everyone to this exciting interview segment here at Survive the Shows. I'm Desira, and today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Aubree Bouché, star of the LMN movie, Dancing with a Murderer. Join us as we delve into Aubree's insights into her character and the challenges of filming this movie. Thank you for being here with us, Aubree.
Hi, no problem. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure. So, talking about Dancing with a Murderer, please, how do you first hear about this movie, Dancing with a Murderer, and what about the script made you want to be a part of it?
So my agent sent through an email, and it was, I believe, from a producer that I've worked with on my last Lifetime film, and they very rushed casting, said, "Can you get a tape in as soon as possible for this role?" I sent in my tape, and the next day they were like, "Great, offer, like, role is yours. Like, we're see you in Kentucky in like 2 weeks." So it was a very quick turnaround. And the script, when they sent me the script, what got me excited about playing Nora is her independence. And the previous Lifetime film I did was heavy on the romance. And this film was, which I loved. I loved being able to play that in the last film I did. But this film caught me because there was two things. Nora's independence and the film not being so focused on simply just a love story. It was also her relationship with her mother. And I have a really strong relationship with my mother. So to be able to play that on screen and find the reality and the truth in that was really special. Yeah, I loved her relationship. She has a best friend in this film. I just feel like I got to explore her world more and really build that because of the other relationships in the film.
Amazing. And can you describe your character and the arc she goes through in the movie, the beginning, for no spoiler?
Nora goes through an interesting arc. She's come back to town after being away for a while since a traumatic event happened at a gala that she attended, and she kind of escaped. She left town. She wanted to get away from this event that happened and kind of rebuild herself. And I relate to that a lot because sometimes when things that are really hard that you go through, you kind of want to just separate yourself from that for a bit, re-find who you are, you know? So she does that. She comes back to town because her mom gets ill. And that's when things start to really unravel. And I think her arc was really finding herself and her voice. She was a little, reserved and shy about saying what her dream is and her path is in the beginning of the film, and comes into her own and starts her business towards the end. And that's just like minor leagues. The like major leagues is how she protects her mother and her new love interest, and whose name is Dom. And it's just interesting to see someone so quickly kind of come into their own and be able to play that. And when life circumstances really pound down on you, to be able to find the strength and the voice to kind of come through that, cut through the noise and find yourself through it, find your strength really.
Amazing. And what was the single most important thing you want in the audience to understand about your character, Nora?
I think that she's fighting to have her voice heard, whether she knows it or not. She kind of acts a little demure. At the beginning, there's a lot of people telling her different things about how others are achieving more. But her best friend is really always her biggest support and trying to pump her up and trying to say, you should open up your business. You should think about your fashion more seriously. And I think it's coming into her own in that way.
Great. And how did you prepare emotionally for the darker, more intense scenes in this movie? Any
Well,
specific
yeah,
exercise or rituals you do?
it's interesting because, like I said, there's this mother-daughter relationship, right? And some of my hardest scenes, there's a couple excluded from this, but there's some of the hardest scenes have to do with my mom, the woman who plays my mom. And I think I was talking to one of the girls on set because a lot of my dialogue has to do with, please don't hurt my mom and keep my mom safe. And it's really easy to slip into the reality of that fear of anything happening to your mom. My mom, just a year ago, went through kind of a traumatic fall. She hurt her shoulder and her hip. She had surgery. She's been healing and recovering. So that tenderness of, how I feel about my mom and wanting her to build her own strength was a little too easy to play into this character. And all I had to do was think about my actual mom. And it was, like, the truth of it was really immediately there. The stretch was the harder things to kind of prepare for were the scenes where, I don't want to spoil anything, but when I don't know how to say this part without spoiling it, but when I get taken at some point and have to battle through some things, that was a harder stretch because I've never been tied up and kidnapped before in my life, so knock on wood. But so that was kind of the fun part of being an actor. It's like I got the reality of being able to play that real relationship with my mom, and then I got to stretch myself as an actor and put myself in this scenario. What happens if I was kidnapped, taken down, tied up into a basement? Like where would my mind go? And I just let it go there. And luckily, I had a really great co-star in that scene, Lauren Pike, and so we just kind of riffed off of each other. She was extremely emotional through it and grounded and rooted in truth in it. So I just followed her lead, and yeah, it's an interesting roller coaster this film goes through.
Amazing. And which scene was the most technically or emotionally challenging to shoot, and why?
Probably the stunt scenes, for a lot of factors. So we rehearsed those scenes. What's funny is the stunt director, who is amazing, he came up to us the morning of that shoot and of the stunt scenes. And there's some heavy stunt scenes towards the end of the film. And he was like, hey, I made something that will help you guys kind of walk through and see what your blocking is for these stunt moments, because it's a long stunt scene. And he is so awesome. He made this video with his daughter's dolls and like stop motion type of video where each doll was like, okay, hitting this doll, now hitting this doll. And like from above showed a stop motion video of these dolls doing the whole like song and dance, the whole routine of our stunt show, our stunt scenes. And that was really great because we got to see kind of the arc of where the stunts were going to go. And then we would step onto set and we would rehearse, and we'd kind of do it beat by beat, like 3 times slower. Then we would do it, 50% of the speed, and then we would do it full speed. And we kind of did that over and over. And then you layer in the reality of the moment. And by the time it's, calling action, you have to slip into that emotional state, but then remember the technicality of these stunts because you're working with prop knives, frying pans hitting, I was getting thrown over a banister. So there's a lot of technicality that you have to keep in mind through the emotion that you're trying to find reality and truth in the scene. So that was a challenge.
Amazing. And I think, did you shoot the movie not in sequence like usually? Yeah.
Right. Right.
How did you keep track of your character's emotional timeline?
That's a great question. And I mean, I don't know how excited people get about actors' process because it's everyone has their own process, but when I'm looking at a script that's over 100 pages and being like, okay, there's multiple scenes in this. Every scene I come into is in a different emotional state, and I end every scene in a different emotional state. So I really opened up a document, like a Word document, and started going scene by scene based off of the shooting schedule. So they would send like a preliminary shooting schedule, right? So I would kind of map it out. Like this day we're shooting this, and based off of where I am in the script, I would make notes of like this is what you just went through, this is the information you know, this is kind of where you're going to be heading. So I would map out basically the entire script, and it's like it's like a Bible of like of emotions and trajectory and what my character wants and needs in each scene. So it's a lot of work, but that's my favorite part. I love the actor homework of it all.
Amazing, amazing. And tell me about your relationship on screen with the film's antagonist. How did you build that dynamic with your co-star?
That was really fun. So we started shooting together day one. Like our very first day was us two shooting majority of it together. And kind of immediately we felt like the perfect foil to each other. We kind of look alike. We had a similar energy. We had a similar strength about us, and I think that played really well to fool the audience. You know, we're really good friends, long-term friends. You can see why we're friends. We really care about each other, or at least we think we do. And like truly Lauren Pike was such an amazing person to work with. Like she's so kind and generous with her time and how we would run it before, and we just clicked really well, and it made it easier to find that bond that the long-term friendship kind of needs to be able to show that history is real. And then the fact that we're actually really strangers in real life was helpful to then let that coin flip and then see, oh, you're not at all who I thought you were. So yeah, it's really fun to work with her. Really fun.
Amazing. And did you and the director or writers make any changes to your character during filming? And if so, what prompted those changes?
Well, it wasn't so much necessarily changes to the character. It was more so we would take the scenes kind of at the top of every day. We would sit down with our amazing director, Bruno, and we would look at the script. We would do a run, like a read through with the lines with the director, just so he could hear out loud, like where we're at with it. And then we would kind of talk through it as a team and be like, you know, does that sentence need to be said? Can that be one word instead of all this exposition? And trying to kind of make it more rooted in how we would really speak as humans. Not that the writing was great. It was more so in this moment. What would the reality of this moment be? Because when you're sitting at a computer writing it versus when you're saying it on set, it can hear so real in your head when you're writing it. I'm a writer too, so it's like you think it's going to sound one way, and then when you're getting it on its feet, you need to find how it's truthful in that moment. So we would make tweaks and changes to the dialogue, and that only informed the character further. I think we weren't making so much changes to the character, but finding the smoothness of the dialogue between all three of us, making it feel honest.
Great. And were there moments you improvised that made it into the final cut? Can you give us an example?
Can you say the question again?
Were there moments you improvised that made in the final cut? And if so, can you make some example?
Trying to think of moments we improvised. I mean, we were helping rework the lines. So sometimes we would say, you know, a line that would happen and a line that was in the script, and then we'd call cut, and then real quick we'd be like, let's tweak that. Can we tweak that real quick? And then we would tweak. I'm trying to think of actual examples because it happened so quick and so on the fly on set. I think what was fun to improvise though was keeping things fresh between takes. That's like the hardest part as an actor, is to like keep it honest with who you're talking to in the scene, but try something new each time. Um, yeah, I don't have a concrete example of one moment.
But there is, so.
It's all a big blur.
How did the wardrobe, makeup shape how you played the character? Any prop that became unexpectedly meaningful?
Oh yeah. The wardrobe was great. The wardrobe team was so great. When I flew in to Kentucky night one, I got there at like, I don't know, 10:30, 11, and then we had my fitting right then, and then was on set the next day. So it was kind of a mad dash to be like, let's at least get these first few days knocked out and figure out what you're wearing for the first few days. And immediately when I started trying on the selection of clothes that our amazing costume designer had for us, I could see her vision. And I actually saw a lot of correlation to her own personal style, which I loved. And I was like, oh, I see where you're trying to go with this, and let me meet with my thoughts of Nora, and we'll meet in the middle. And I think we found a really good rhythm with knowing each other. She kind of, by the end of the shoot, she was like, I think you're going to want to wear this instead of this. I was like, yeah. So the wardrobe, Nora is very, it's an interesting mix. So she's in Kentucky. She had just come back from her job in overseas in the UK. So she's influenced by her UK fashion. She's also influenced by her hometown roots in Kentucky. And then she's also trying to be a forward thinker and think like, you know, how she can incorporate her own style into her daily fashion to promote her line and like think about her creativity. It's how she expresses herself. So we had a lot of fun. My favorite outfits that I think kind of express who Nora is she wears this, I wear this polka dot dress in one of the scenes. And I think that was my favorite thing to wear. That and this lovely dainty little blue dress, which I think any like dainty jewelry and like little dainty, like was very Nora, because she's softer spoken, but you can see her strength and her personality through the small details. And there are a lot of small details. I wear this really sweet watch that the costume designer had me wear, and it feels nostalgic. It feels like maybe it's something that a family member gave me, my mom, or it's a family heirloom. And so there was little things like that I think gave Nora this more vintage style approach to her wardrobe.
Amazing. And you said a little bit earlier, did you perform any physical stunt work? How were you coached or protected for those moments?
Yes, we did a lot of stunts. Basically, there's this one whole day where we were shooting the stunt scene, and the stunts start inside the house. We go all over the living room. I'm thrown over a banister, a frying pan hits her face, and then we run outside, and then the stunts continue. She tackles me on the ground, we roll over, and I won't ruin the ending of how that scene ends, but it was heavy on the stunts. And I've done a lot of stunts in my career so far, and I have learned that in the moment, the rehearsal process feels very different than in the moment, because in the moment, you can easily let yourself kind of go and let your body take over. And it's dangerous, because even though you're doing a stunt fall onto a mat or whatnot, sometimes then you have to take the mat away and you have to fake that fall right into the grass so they can get the shot on the hard ground. So you have to not push yourself. And that's something I'm always trying to remind myself, because I will kind of release into the moment, and then the next day I'm covered in bruises and it's not the stunts team fault. They prepped me. They told me exactly how to do it. It's all me just like being a little 1% too extra in the scene. But they did a really good job of prepping us. Like I said, those awesome videos they made of his daughter's dolls doing stop motion to prep out the scene. And And it's really cool working with a stunt coordinator because they are so technical and they don't miss a beat. They know exactly how to tell you when you're getting punched or slapped in the face. It's not just a pull away. It's like, how do you recoil from that? You need to keep going. There's also really cool things we can do with the speed of the scene. We can take time in certain moments to really draw it out. Like if she's coming at me with a knife and I'm like leaned against the counter, like we can make that slower and then quickly snap into the next moment. So we were playing with rhythm a lot too, which was really fun.
Amazing. And what was the biggest surprise about playing Nora once you stepped onto set?
Biggest surprise about playing Nora. I think how much I related to her. She has this lovely community in her hometown and really deeply cares about her relationships and is actively working to find her voice. And all those things I relate to. I really want to nourish my relationships that I care deeply about, and I also, like Nora, sometimes want to escape. Like I want to get away. I love my own independence. So the fact that she went and at the top of the film, she's coming back from at least a year away in the UK to do her own thing. I really relate to that. I love my own time, escaping, figuring out my path, and then taking the quality time to be with my family, finding my voice through everything, even through traumatic experiences. Like that, I think, is how we grow as people. So I relate to Nora a lot, and I think that surprised me.
Amazing. And how did you and the cast prepare to create believable chemistry and tension under time constraints?
Hmm.
So not so little time to be together.
I know, but such a little time. We shot in like 3 weeks,
Yeah,
and I mean, I was cast a week and a half, 2 weeks prior to shooting, so there was no luxurious rehearsal time, before. And but what we did get to do, the amazing woman playing my best friend in the film, Tamara, like, she and I hopped on a Zoom. I think the day before we shot, because were both kind of traveling, getting in town, and that was the first day we could actually like sit down. And we Zoomed and read through all our scenes together and kind of talked through like, okay, so, well, how long have we been friends? Like, when did we meet? We were trying to figure out the timeline, and we started making our own little inside jokes um, and kind of crafting like I think and she was like, this character is really me, and I was like, this character is really me. And so I was like, great, let's just be us together in the scene. And I think that really helped, and we really did like click. We bonded a lot throughout this whole process. Honestly, all the women in the film, cast and crew, they were so great through this whole film. I was having some like health issues while we were on set, and everyone was just like, well, just try this, try this. Like every day we were kind of checking in on each other, and I felt like the women in the film were like my fam. It was really sweet. That was a
yeah,
tangent,
great.
but
Great. And how do you hope audiences will react to your performance? And what reaction would feel like a success to you for this movie?
what was the second question?
What reaction would feel like a success to you for this movie?
I think I would really love to see audiences kind of take into account how honest we're trying to be with each other on screen, and how while these movies get moved so quickly, a new Lifetime movie, a new Amazon, they all come out so quickly, right? Like it's a lot rapid pace. So to be able to kind of catch an audience's attention and have them care about these characters is a goal. And I think that would be a success to me, is if someone watched the film, relates to Nora, relates to anyone in the film, whether it's because of their relationship with their mom, or their mom's going through an illness, or someone in their family is going through an illness, and there's when it feels like every obstacle is coming down on you, and you can persevere through it and actually find yourself and find your strength through it. I think that would be a really big success if someone related to the film and was like, I think I see myself in Nora, or I think I see myself in any of these characters, or I get why the antagonist would do that, but I don't want to do it, but I understand her. Just understanding these people on screen as what their real motives are, and kind of seeing that it's bringing to surface the things that sometimes we don't talk about, or we don't allow ourselves to feel. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And can you share a moment from filming that made you laugh or broke the tension? An offbeat memory people wouldn't expect from material set.
The first one that came to my mind is so great. So on the day we were doing all the stunts, we had to figure out a safe way for me. At one point, I get hit over the head really hard with like a bat. Was it a bat? I think it was a bat. Um, and we tried it quite a few times to try and sell it, where whatever they were hitting me with would kind of come behind me, and then I would react and fall the appropriate way to however that hit me. And we did that over and over and over, and I would just keep falling and falling and we would then, as a whole team, it was so sweet. This is when I really felt like our set was a family. Is after the take, we'd be like, okay, come back to the monitor, and everyone on the monitor would be like, do you believe that? Do you believe that? Does that look real? And we would kind of assess it together, and we're like, wait, every time I'd be like, I think I can fall a little bit more that way, and then it will be more believable. So we kept doing that, right? And then by the end of it, we're like, I don't know, we need one more thing to like kind of sell it. So luckily they had, because they got a wig that matched my hair, and put it on a mannequin's head, and basically like twisted the mannequin's head so her hair would flip like that, right? And like the bat would actually hit the mannequin. And then our awesome key makeup artist, I have an amazing video of this, like twisted the mannequin so it really looks like she got hit. And it looked so much better than whatever we were doing. Like, it sold it. So what's kind of, yeah, it's a fun little thing in the film, is like at some point when I get hit in the head, you're potentially seeing a mannequin's head instead of mine, which is kind of a fun little secret. Might be an actual secret, but I'm sharing it with you. Secret safe with you, right?
Yeah, amazing. And would you be open to revisiting Nora in a sequel or spin-off? Why or why not?
Oh, yeah. I think there's more for Nora to explore. And there's a lot with her storyline that I think we can see more of. And while the antagonist kind of gets wrapped up in a nice little button of like, yeah, she was taken by the cops, I mean, you're not in jail forever. It's not a life sentence, and there's other things. Maybe, I think there's more. And also, there's a whole relationship with Dom we just kind of start the spark with, and we don't see where it goes. It was just kind of the start of it. So I think there's a lot to explore there. That'd be fun. That'd be so fun to do a sequel.
Amazing. So, change of subject.
Okay.
Talking about your career in general. Looking back, which role before Dancing with a Murderer felt like the biggest turning point for you in your career, and why?
Well, I think the first Lifetime film I did a few years ago, that was a really fun job. I kind of felt pretty spoiled for that to be my very first feature film booking. Because as actors, we can do, I've done a lot of indie film, short film, and this was my first feature length film, and it was on TV, and the director asked me to write the music for it, the main title song for that first movie I did, A Dangerous Affair. And I think I got really spoiled. We were shooting in Miami. It was gorgeous out. I loved my co-stars. I loved my director, she was a female director, Christy Will Wolf. Like she was such a cool director to work with and became more of a friend. Like I really felt like she was a champion of of my work and just really wanted to see everyone succeed. And we still talk to this day. And I think that whole process, it just felt like a big, big family. And and then a week into shooting that movie, the Christy, the director, saw, I guess, on my Instagram or something that I sang, and she was like, "Do you want to write the song for the film?" I was like, "Yes, I do." So that felt like I was releasing my first feature along with my very first single release for my own music. And so it was just kind of like a big moment for me. And it felt like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, I have something good to give here. Like that would be really exciting to see my first movie and my first song come out together. And that's what happened.
That's great.
Yeah, it was a big turning point.
Yeah. And what's a role or genre you haven't tackled yet, but are dying to eager to
I
try?
want to play the villain. I want to be the evil one. I think I really have it in me. And I auditioned for it a lot and it just hasn't come into fruition. But I think I have played so much of the ingenue, more innocent, finding herself type of role that I love playing because there's so much to explore with that. But man, to tap into the dark side would be so fun.
Yeah, we hope. I hope that you can tackle this.
Thank you. Me too. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So the last question. Can you share with us what's next for you?
Sure. I'm auditioning a lot. I just signed with a new manager and trying to figure out what my next move is. I definitely want to be doing more film work. And actually, but like I said, I wrote music for that first Lifetime film I did, but I also wrote music for this anime series, Blue Samurai, After Image that just screened at Comic-Con, and they're kind of taking steam. They're going to try and make a TV series out of this, and I wrote music for the film. And my composer sent in the song to be submitted for the Grammys. So we're in consideration and we'll find out on the 7th if we're actually nominated for a Grammy for our song Drive with Heart. So that's kind of like next up for me, of just like anticipation of like, oh my God, are we going to potentially be nominated for a Grammy? We'll see. So that's kind of fun.
Great. And there's some project that are premiering soon. You have been part of.
Say it again.
There is some project like movie or TV show that you were part of and that will be premiering soon.
I shot a really beautiful film. I think it was like 4 or 5 months ago. And that was such a beautiful film. It was a fully improvised film about a relationship between a husband and wife, and kind of from the love to the realization of needing to go separate ways, and rooted in the therapy and attachment styles that they have, and dealing with their attachment styles through therapy. And we fully improvised everything. There's real therapy sessions we do with a real therapist in it, and very beautiful. So I'm kind of waiting to see when that comes out. It's an awesome director from Sweden, I believe, and yeah, so that's coming out soon. I'm not sure when, where, but that's exciting, and yeah, yeah.
Great. So this is it. Make sure, all of you, to coach Dancing with a Murderer on Lifetime platform. And thank you, Aubree, to join us today.
Thank you for having me. So nice to chat with you.
For
Hope you
me
enjoy
too.
the film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. Bye.